Hey everyone, welcome to the episode 90. 19 episodes. Incredible. It has gone so fast, so many people, not enough time to take care of everything and having everyone. But life is going really fast, and I want to thank everyone for joining me tonight. Everyone, the people who are listening to it now, and the people who will listen it later in the future via YouTube, Facebook, Odysee. I'm on Telegram now, and yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it for now. So thank you again. Thank you for you are the pillars of the LIBERcast. So first of all, I want to bring up the One Great Work Network. Anytime and bring Marja to this way. Yeah, welcome. Welcome again, Marja. Thank you for your time and thank you to partake in the LIBERcast for
Thank you
the
for
third
having
time,
me.
I think, and more is coming. So it's awesome.
And more is coming. Yeah, because all the stuff that's happening in the Matrix, it's all they're just doubling down, tripling down. I mean, just on and on and on. And we have to be prepared. This spiritual warfare that is upon us, it's some serious shit. And there's just way too many people being just so casual about it. And I've been a little bit quiet on my YouTube. I'm not uploading twice a week anymore, simply because my private practice has actually quadrupled in like the last few months, because people are they're ready to take a stand in their lives and just tired of spinning around, spinning their wheels, circling the toilet and bowl, and they just want to take ownership of their lives. And so today's topic, and thank you for that open invitation a couple of weeks ago, because I think that for all of us that are doing this work, doing the shadow work, doing the great work, raising our families, raising our children, endeavoring to figure out how we can, on purpose and stealthily, waltz in and out of this matrix so that we can provide for our families. This work of really mastering the human energy field is very, very important. And there are a lot of us that really don't have the excess monies or extra monies to spend on a lot of the costs for the shadow work, for counselors, for therapists, for energy healers. And I think it's important that we learn to really arm ourselves with the weaponry necessary to go up against these mofos in the matrix, where they have, like I said at the beginning, doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on weaponizing our traumas and our woundologies. And so one of the things that I want to talk about and start bringing up is really and incrementally, because there's so much distortion around the human energy field, so much distortion around the components of the human energy field when it comes to trauma. So we've got our energy field, our bodies, our energy field. Each one of us has a specific signature. Okay, so that's one component. Two components if you include the body. Then we have the chakra system. Okay, I'll get into that at some point. Then we also have the meridian system. I want to talk about the meridian system because one of the components of our aliveness is our ability to feel the totality of human experience, which includes very hard emotions. All right. Because if we don't know how to feel and we are either suppressing it, repressing it, pretending it doesn't exist, or we're drowning it, trying to numb it out with sex, drugs, and rock and roll and all that kind of stuff. All of that blockage, all of the, putting a pause, hitting the pause button on feeling emotions, good ones, the bad ones, the rough ones, the soft ones, all of it renders us zombies in the matrix, sound asleep, as if we are AI. Okay. And everybody's all up in arms about the influence of AI. And it's very important that we understand that this part of the war for our consciousness is the war for our hearts and souls. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because consciousness is heart, mind, body, soul coordination. You have to be able to feel all of the stuff that you don't want to feel. That includes the physical pain. Our bodies have consciousness. They are the vehicles through which we create our reality, through which we have experiences with our family and our children. And we are these emotional beings. And so if we numb out, or if we become zombies or stoic and we are unable to express love, unable to express our anger, rage, and our frustration, and we suppress that, we're kind of fucked, in more ways than one, because what happens is the body starts to deteriorate with the feelings that we suppress. Okay. So when people start to age prematurely, like I've met some people in their 20s and 30s and they look like shit. It's like, what is going on? And you can tell by their body posture, they're frozen, their faces barely move. And it's because the feelings and emotions, the mental thoughts are trapped. They're trapped. They're frozen. And you don't want to be in a freeze. And unfortunately, that's what happens with a lot of trauma-based mind control, is that we are in a freeze. So a lot of the times when I work with people, say their actual age is 45, when I start to work with them, they have different ages frozen. So some people are frozen at, say, age 8. And so in a lot of our trauma deactivation, we go back to those ages, okay? And we address the specifics of that trauma. We release the feelings. We release the sort of entity attachments that come before the feelings, okay? And so all of these components, there's a protocol to doing the energy work and the trauma deactivation. And of course, with New Age bullshit and all the freewheeling sort of psychic healings and all that kind of stuff. One of the reasons why they don't work is because they don't know the protocol and the order in which to do the clearings, so that the clearings and the deactivation holds. Okay, and there's a lot of distortion about that. And so the way I approach it is everybody needs to know this information. Everybody needs to know it. Okay. And what's happened is that I know a lot of energy healers that want to keep the shit occulted and secret. And that is criminal, in my opinion. Okay.
Absolutely.
Because it's just like the Hermetica. It's just like the Kabbalion. It's like the trivium and the quadrivium. All right. People want to cart it off to one corner and occult it and just say only special people can access it. Only energy healers can access it. Bullshit. No. We each have access to this information. And, the powers that want to be, the medical powers that want to be, new age bullshit, a lot of the sort of alterna health, all of that kind of stuff. They each have their own agenda to keep all these components separate and sequestered so you don't connect the dots and you're utterly confused. And so what I have done over the years, and going into nearly 4 decades of doing this, I spilled the beans with all this stuff because it is part of my mission that everybody learns how to free themselves, learns how to free themselves in such a way that you can do work on your own children, on your own family members, where you don't necessarily have to go outside and try to find somebody trustworthy, because I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of sharks out there. There's a lot of sharks out there who have actually ripped off my material, have created their own websites, uploaded my own videos, and are acting as me, offering healings. I mean, I'm just like, what is going on? So that is the level of treachery that we're dealing with in this spiritual war that we are in. And it's very, very, very serious. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of I don't like to use the word, but there's a lot of gurus and fake ass spiritual people outside, and this is quite right. What I'm trying to do it's to exclude their mind control, and it's going way deeper than what I covered as such, and the rabbit hole is deep as hell.
It's deep, it's stinky.
Yeah,
it's like, holy moly,
perverted as
very,
hell.
very, very, very perverted, and very well funded, very well organized, very well distorted. They are masters of distortion and confusion.
Yep.
Which is why I think it's one of the reasons why I, in the past, have just gotten so targeted and shut down, because I'm actually letting people know, look, you have access to this. Okay. You do. You have access to it. You just want to get to know it and study it. And so the components that I'm going to be sharing over, say, the next few broadcasts are going to really give you the blueprint of not just the human emotional, energetic field, but also give you a protocol where you yourself can put this together. I'll have a cheat sheet for everybody to be able to, at the very least, do very, very basic emotional, energetic healings and clearings on yourself and on your family members and friends. Okay. Because not everybody wants to do this for a job. Okay. I mean, I have a calling for it, but some of it is pretty scary. Pretty scary, and it's not for the squeamish, especially when you have entities coming at you left and right, and you don't know what the hell to do with them, because they will wreak havoc. So what do you think about that, Fred?
I mean, the LIBERcast has been a good motivation for knowing what are the fundamental schism into the mind of the people.
Yes.
And since the world, the universe in which we are is mental, then the solutions is going to be in the mental realm.
Absolutely.
So I mean there's so much work to do, only just for the basic fundamental laws of the universe, and really understanding this work, this is what we're calling the great work. Is a tremendous work, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of repeating we're repeating a lot,
Yes.
because it's very important
Yeah.
to tell the rhetorics and the maxim and the axioms of
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I have a lot of people coming at me saying, I know this already. Okay, bullshit. Why doesn't your life work then? Okay. Because if you do know this shit, like you say you know this shit, your life will work. Okay. So when
Yep.
people tell me, I know this already, I know they're full of it and I know they are in pain.
It's even for me. I'm like 10 years into it, maybe 6 years of shadow working, and it's
Yeah.
not an easy breezy
Yeah. No, it's not.
thing.
It's not a one
I'm
off event.
Yeah, it's not. It's You're not gonna like have a beautiful, lucky, light life. It's gonna be hard,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we have to
Sometimes
count upon this. Yep.
you might go on for a roll and then boom,
Yep.
shit is
Oh
going to hit
yes.
the fan because you're ready to up level again. And that's part of the awakening process is you awaken deeper and deeper and deeper. What was true for you 10 years ago is not even going to be true for you now. And that has been my discovery
Hmm.
is that, wow, I am just not the same person I was 10 years ago. I'm not the same person that I was 5 years ago either, you know.
1 year ago, I
Yeah,
wasn't
or
the same
a year
person.
ago.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And so, you know, understanding the emotional mechanism of our energy body, okay? Understanding the anatomy of the trauma body, the pain body is very, very important because if we don't understand that, then we don't have a language really of being able to uh, receive, activate our feminine, our divine feminine superpower of receiving, okay, the information that your body is trying to tell you. Okay.
Yep.
Now, one of
Care.
the reasons why we have addiction is because addiction, whatever form it comes in, whether it is uh, gambling, sex, drugs, rock and roll, alcohol, shopping, whatever it is meant to numb you out and cover up the generational guilt, shame, humiliation that you are running through your psychic DNA, through all of your generations and timelines, and also through the atavism that gets triggered by pop culture, by all
Yep.
these triggering mechanisms within the matrix to distract us and to explode this emotion that has been kept down over the millennia of human suffering, okay, so that human suffering can continue. And most people are going to go there. They're going to go to that place where they would much rather tune out, numb out, come back another lifetime, you know, hit the pause button rather than doing the shadow work.
I
Okay.
mean, I mean, if we compare this to someone who have seen like uh, seemingly the same problem, and they're not doing the shadow work, and someone who's doing the shadow work, there's the difference between how this person thinks and this person
Yes.
is think and behave is
Yes.
incredible. And
Yes.
w- you, shadow work is about seeing your own bullshit, your
Yes.
own lies, your
Yes.
own deceiving that you
Yes.
made to yourself in when you were growing up. And I keep bringing back this expression. I call it psychic noise. And this thing there
Perfect.
is, it's very present. And if you
Yes.
have neurotic people around you, almost everyone are neurotic, by the way, but at the different level. And the people who are deeply into it, you're gonna see it, they're gonna be afraid easily. They're gonna get depressed at this at everything.
Yes.
And
Yep.
I'm not saying that being afraid or being depressed doesn't happen to me or you or the people who are listening. It's gonna happen, but
Yeah.
it's how do you react to
Yes.
that? How, what are
Exactly.
you doing with the information? Because this is information. Feelings, emotions, and intuition are
Yeah.
information.
Yeah. Yeah. It's our consciousness speaking to us and letting us know what we are saying. I am to. And most people are saying I am to their pains, traumas, suffering, and dramas. They are saying I am to that rather than I am to their true divine creative natures. Okay, which leads us back to the first hermetic principle of
Hmm.
mentalism. That's where it goes, kids. Okay, but if you're saying I am to all of your traumas, then you're missing the whole point. Okay, and that is part of trauma-based mind control, is the identitarianism, the identification with our traumas and our stories.
Yep.
And, our stories are cool, but if we're going to repeat them again and again and again and again and again and again, and you're just going to want to play the sad violin awful constantly because you're getting off on it, know that the demonic powers that want to be are lapping up your pity party. They are lapping up all of that reactivation of your trauma, the retelling of the story of ain't it awful and I'm a victim and this is what happened to me and he's a fucking asshole and blah, 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 blah. Those are helpful to get that out and excavate it. But you can't keep telling that story. You have to work the Hermetic principles,
Hmm.
particularly number one. Moving on to number two, as above, so below, the law of correspondence, from within, so without. Okay. The universe, so the soul. We have to be accountable about what we are saying I am to. Okay. So, in deactivating trauma and doing the great shadow work, you are not saying I am to your shadow shit. Okay. You are saying I am to your divinity, and you are inviting your shadow to come along with you because we leave no parts of ourselves behind. And that's a hard one because we're trained to hate ourselves.
Hmm.
We are trained to self-hate, to self-loathe, to self-blame, to self-criticize, to
Self-doubt.
self-murder, self-doubt. We're trained to do all that as if we're doing ourselves a favor. But no, what you're still doing is you're still saying, I am to your traumas, I am to your perpetrators, by not saying, I am love, I am divine in the flesh. Okay. So part of what I want to talk about is the importance of feelings, and in particular I want to introduce the Chinese meridians. Okay, and the reason why I want to do this is because in emotional energetic healing, the feelings are held in the meridian system, the meridian system that the brilliant Chinese healers figured out somehow millennia ago. And there is a reason why Western medicine wants to sit there and poo poo Chinese medicine, poo poo acupuncture, poo poo any kind of relationship that the meridians have in the energy system of the body, poo poo the relationship of the meridians to the various organs and endocrine systems of the body, bodily functions, because they don't want you to empower yourselves with this information so you don't have the proper knowledge. Okay. And so many people are just bamboozled and mind controlled by Western medicine.
We have
Don't
a
do it, kids. You have a lot more innate divine intelligence running through your tissues and your cells than all the doctors with all their fancy titles put together. Okay. You are actually that smart and that brilliant. And You
This
have to
is,
say I
yeah,
am to your divine brilliance and your divine intelligence, because that is in the cellular structure of the body. Okay.
we we see this pattern all the time,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this lack of care about the
Yeah.
self,
Yeah.
is a big problem in the Western civilization and everywhere else. And what we lack is knowledge about the way our body
Yes.
is
Yeah.
interfering, and this osmosis of nature. Because yes, we're electrical, we are physical, we are flesh, but essentially we're intimately connected with the earth and this phenomena. And by the way,
Yes.
we have the same relationship, the energetical vibrational relationship with the people who surround us. So we
Yes.
are like bathing into
That
this
that is
energy.
such a powerful point, Fred, because this is the synergy of our relationships with our intimate partners, our children, our friends, our family, our neighbors. Okay, so love correspondence. What's
Yep.
going on internally is going to play out in the outer sphere of your immediate environment. Okay, and we can try to live in a bubble. God knows I try. But the bottom line is that that's only sustainable for so long, and then guess what, we have to go out and do things and interact. Okay, at least I do. And in order to do that, we have to learn how to waltz in and out of the matrix, and do so in a way where we are stealth, where we can waltz in and out of the matrix unimpeded and basically invisible. And I love doing this. And I did this in Costco the other day with my man. And there were three people that I ran into in Costco who knew exactly what I was doing. And one person actually was one of my YouTube subscribers who came up to me and just went, "Oh, I know who you are. I know who you are, darling," because I say darling to everybody. It was pretty funny. And when you learn how to do that, there's a recognition with our soul brothers and soul sisters who are doing the exact same thing of transmuting this craziness called the matrix, the
Hmm.
craziness of the influence of the matrix and the powers that want to invert every fucking thing in our lives. And those of us who are really diligent and doing the work, we run into each other every now and again. And it's like this recognition. It's like, oh, hey, yeah, you too, you know, and that's what I want to co-create with people like yourself, our listeners, is that is what it's going to take. It's not about bumping up against all the shitstones of the matrix.
Hmm.
It's good to know how they operate. We got to know how they operate. Okay, because if we know how they operate, you're not going to fall for their crazy shit. Okay, you're going to be really, really aligned with the truth, the objective truth of what's really, really, really going on. And your body is going to feel that truth. Okay, so getting back to the meridians, all right, the meridians are an important element because we each have them. And by knowing them and knowing where they are on our physical bodies, we can learn how to release them. And if we learn how to release them, we don't have to go to an acupuncturist. You don't have to go to an acupressure person, because even the acupuncturist and the acupressure person doesn't know the emotional components of the meridians. And the reason why I know this is because I used to go into acupuncture schools and actually teach it. So it's and It's not hidden. It's there. It's just been occulted on purpose, not just by Western medicine, but also by Chinese medicine practitioners. It's fascinating. It's like, wow, how does this happen? Okay. It happens because we give our authority to the experts.
Yep.
Okay. And so I always say, I'm speaking right now as if I am the expert. I'm speaking not as the expert. I'm speaking to you really as a friend, as a comrade, a person who wants to share this information because I'm sick of the Matrix taking control of so many people and watching a lot of my friends and family members going zombie. You know what I mean? There's nothing more fucking disturbing than losing friends and family to the spiritual war for our consciousness, where they have just given up and they'd much rather get high. They'd much rather get drunk. They'd rather go to the racing track. They'd rather bet on stupid shit and give their kids iPhones to entertain themselves than to take responsibility for what they have created and dig down into those, crunchy little family morselettes of our dysfunction and our codependency and our tribal lineage stuff. Okay.
Family. It's when you look overall in society, how children are treated, where we are mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. It's you don't have to go far, to find your answer.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's very, very disturbing. So,
yes.
So one of the things that I want to start doing, I want to just briefly run down in the time remaining that we have the meridian system and just introduce them. And next time, what I would like to do, because I have illustrations, I would love to walk people through basic ways on how to clear them, because I think that is an important skill set for all of us to learn across the board. Okay. Because it is pretty easy peasy, but it has been so shrouded in, oh, you can't touch them. Oh my God. I mean, I hear people say this and I'm just like, wow, okay. So I'm here to really debunk all that because it's very user friendly. We have them. And so, maybe next time that's what we can do. We can just run through them. But I want to introduce them simply because we're in, well, I mean, let's face it. We're all recovering from the PTSD of COVID, the COVID, as I call it, COVID, and the gaslighting that we continue to experience by the powers that want to be. And not only that, the hugely divisive mechanism that they weaponized to get us to go to war with each other, to vax, to not vax, to mask, to not mask. Oh my God. I mean, it is insane. So the first set of meridians I want to talk about are the bladder meridian and the kidney meridian. Okay. So these meridians are the primary ones that tend to hold fear, terror of dying. So it's where a lot of fear porn gets deposited. Okay. It gets deposited into these meridians where it's all about the fear of authority. It's all about the fear of going against the grain, the fear of standing up on your own, particularly with kidney meridian. In the work that I do, kidney meridian is one of the self-esteem meridians that affects how we are able to step out as a lone wolf when you're surrounded by people telling you otherwise, telling you that, you're some crazy person because you're not going along with the narrative. Okay. So these are meridians that are very, very important, because if the fear gets stuck, okay, kidney meridian also governs the hair, the skin, parts of the eyes, the upper back muscles. Okay. So if that meridian is holding tremendous amounts of fear, it also holds tremendous amounts of guilt and shame and feeling humiliated, and also feelings of being persecuted, particularly bladder meridian, fear of being killed, fear of being tortured. So these meridians have a lot of past life influences too, of torture, of pain of death, of being burned at the stake, for instance. It's a very, very common theme that happens. So these meridians are very important to clear on a regular basis, because they can freeze us in that place of kind of deer in the headlights, where you can't defend yourself, you cannot run away, you can't advocate for yourself, and you just surrender to other authorities lording over you. And that is one of the sort of foibles that we're working with, is to being able to confront our fears as they are happening, rather than freezing or surrendering your autonomy, your sovereignty to someone other than you. Okay. Does that make sense, Fred?
Yeah, and is this? I have a question for you. When you
Yes.
talk about your relation you have with other people and with fear, does validation would be in this place there?
Yes, absolutely. Because on the other hand, perhaps we're in a codependent relationship where we are basically lying to ourselves for our safety. Okay. For our safety, and receiving validation from somebody that we're deathly terrified of. Okay. And as long as we conform, and as long as we go along to get along, we're safe. Our children are safe. There are a lot of men and women who are in domestic partnerships where they're being abused. Their children are being abused. And, so that threat, if you leave me, on and on and on. Okay. All those threats about succumbing to somebody else's will. So in many ways, these meridians, these two in particular, we surrender our will to an outside force. Okay. And by learning how to clear it, how to get with the sort of truth within your body, okay, as to which meridian is holding that fear, and there are other meridians that will hold fear, but these are the primary ones that affect self-esteem, that affect personal safety, okay, that affect our ability to advocate for ourselves, and advocate for ourselves, even to the point of self-defense. Okay. So a lot of the times when these meridians are stuck, okay, the active principle of the masculine gift of self-defense is just out of whack. It's just not even it's
Wow.
not even active, because it's completely overlaid. It's completely stunted by this backup of fear and terror. Okay. Yeah.
There.
So
I mean, this is a very carnal thing. There's a intimate connection with the 3D world. The
yes,
world of material and flesh, and
yes,
your relation with nature and with the others. Because I mean, we were talking earlier before the podcast about this connection we have with nature and with the
yes.
others, and it's an incredible. And I mean, when you take the chakras and you take the thing, I mean, it fits together, you
Totally,
know.
totally does. Totally
I
does.
mean, you have the
And here's the
tree, yeah.
thing. Here's the thing, because I'm seeing some really, really cool comments here. The protocol of clearing the emotional energetic body. Okay. You have to clear the auric field first of all entities, because if you don't, those entities are going to be answering to whatever is going on. They are in charge. Okay. So you clear the emotional energetic field, the auric field first. Then you deal with the chakras.
Hmm.
Okay. And after you clear the chakras and you bring back the energies to the chakras, then you can deal with the meridians. Okay. So I'm starting with the meridians first, and we're going to go all out and we're going to put it all together, you know, over the next few broadcasts, because this is really important, and
Hmm.
I just go on and on and on, uh, and I'm only one person. We each need to know how to do this for real, because it's gonna take all of us to be able to, like, T-bone these motherfuckers, that the powers that want to be in the matrix. They got to stop. And the only way that we stop them is to be smarter than them,
Yep.
without pushing up against them, and just teach each other the ways,
And
because we have these tools.
I mean, we the thing that I use always is, if you want to conquer your mind control, you have to be aware that it is mind control. And some people still brought it up earlier this week, the fact that I was wearing the One Great Word T-shirt, and you have the third eye, there, the eye of Osiris.
Yeah,
And I was telling them, I'm not a Freemason, I'm not involved in that,
yeah.
but I know a part of what they know. So I studied their thing, and then I try to learn this to people, the basics,
Mm-hmm.
because they have built this world, and they are very much aware of what we're talking about
Oh,
there.
hell yeah, they are. And it's a goddess cult. It is
Yep.
the cult of the gynocracy, kids.
Yep.
There's no patriarchy. It's a gynocracy. The dark, malignant feminine is running the shit show. And hate on me for that. I really don't care. I'm still here. So, and this is one of the things that we need to understand, is that we have to get with the truth of our occulted history as men and women, and the masculine feminine. Okay. Because if we don't, we're kind of sound asleep, and we're still part of the divide and conquer.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, uh, moving on. Okay. So the next set of meridians I want to talk about is circulation sex and triple warmer. Okay. Now, these are the meridians that have to do with betrayal and losing trust. And betrayal and loss of trust is very important in terms of realigning ourselves with our sovereignty, with our true divine creative nature, with saying, I am to our true divine selves, rather than I am to our victimhood. I am to our pains and traumas. Okay. So these meridians have a lot to do with our trust issues, have a lot to do with all those events where we were dissed, we were lied to, we were betrayed, we were gaslighted, where we were overtaken by some fucking psycho. Okay. And all of us have a lot of this going on, especially, with the convid and our recovery from the immense repeated gaslighting from the left, right, and center paradigms within the matrix, and also within our own communities, going to war with each other.
Yep.
Unaware that, if you are applying those principles, the Hermetic principles, everybody else is creating their own layer of reality. And that's a hard one for people, and so we have to understand the way reality is molded through the first principle. Okay.
Just imagine that you separate these stratas and these schism, and you put them in every different family with different context, with different form of violence or negligence or mistreatment. And how it and I want to bring that because I think it's right in there. It's if you didn't have this attention, this validation, this emotional aspect, this caring from your parent, you're gonna take it elsewhere. But it's not gonna be from the inside. It's gonna be from a different, an exterior medium. It's gonna become and it's very, very dangerous.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, the endpoints of circulation sex meridian, okay, these are the endpoints. It just fucking cracks me up. I just love it. I mean, how did the Chinese figure this shit out? And it's actual, And then with triple warmer, it is the ring finger. So this finger, the ring of fidelity, the ring of truth, the ring of marriage agreement. What is the word that fuck English? Oh my God! I mean, what is the word? Loyalty. Okay, the loyalty. And how are we loyal? We have to own our own sovereignty. Okay, we have to own our inner queen, our inner king, for both genders, kids. Okay. This isn't about man or woman. This is about the internal king, the internal queen, the inner masculine, the inner feminine. Okay. And know thy enemy. No shit. That's just so good. You have to know what you're dealing with.
Yep.
Okay. And part of knowing what we're dealing with is understanding that the betrayals that we feel, the betrayals that we suffer, okay, these can be held in such a way that we close ourselves off to our own inner wisdom because we allowed it to happen in the first place.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Consent.
Yeah. Exactly. And these meridians, circulation sex, has a lot to do with how we navigate the social purview, if you will, of group dynamics, one-on-one relationships, partnerships, whether they're intimate, whether they're business, whether they're in family, whether they are in, I hear a lot of people talk about wanting to get into some conscious community. And these fucking people fight like cats and dogs. And you know why? is because they have not dealt with their generational tribal traumas. And so if you don't clear that from within in your own lineage, and you go into a group of other people who haven't done that, wow, man, that is a fucking shit show. It's a shit show of drama, which is why every so-called conscious community that I've ever been involved in or have been invited to always goes down in flames with some major controversy, because there's a cult leader. I mean, earlier we talked about gurus and all that, and how every group ends up being a totalitarian shit show of agreement, and where the mob rules, crowd consciousness. Okay. You and I, we're not talking about crowd consciousness here. We're talking about individual sovereignty and understanding that we're each creating our own layer of the universe, and therefore we are each responsible for our emotions. Okay. And so if we can't trust ourselves and each other, the basis of any kind of community, based on sovereignty, is not going to go very far. So these meridians are very, very, very important. Okay. In addition, triple warmer meridian is in charge of the endocrine systems of the entire body. Okay. And what are the endocrine systems? These are the systems in the body that produce and release hormones. Okay. So that's an important factor to consider. And a lot of people who have hormone issues have a lot of betrayal issues and trust issues. And it's come up again and again and again in my private practice. You can't deny it, you know. And so I'm always fascinated when these themes come up, because these themes are universal. The fear of death, being humiliated, being outed, being banished from a community because you're not in agreement, because you dare speak the truth. You dare fucking challenge the status quo. And then to be betrayed by people who you thought had your back, because they're a bunch of fucking cowards, and you know, they are in that place where they need to have the agreement of the mob. So what do? They throw you under the bus.
Yep.
Yeah. So these are things that happen again and again and again and again. And particularly with all of us who've been on the pathway of just witnessing the fucking global shit show of the last few years. I mean, I'm just like, and it's still going. It's like, fuck me.
I'm flabbergasted every day. You know, there's always something.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh my God, it cannot be worse than that. And then, you know, something happened, and because I'm disconnected from the culture, from where I live, it's very difficult to get in sync with the sleepwalkers. Actually, it makes it harder, you know, to not delving into the culture makes you a pariah. It makes you a scapegoat, and
yes,
it's very difficult to approach people because they're stuck in this. I like the absolutely the word that you use, it's matrix. And it's the thing with the matrix is you get out of one matrix and then you get into another one, and then another one, and then another one, all the time.
They're traps. They are all traps.
Absolutely.
You know, and they're all pre-scripted so that, you know, everybody, all the followers. I mean, I watch this shit, you know, and I want to make, you know, herding sounds and shit like that. But, you know, I don't want to insult the animals too much, you know. So anyways, moving on. So the next set of meridians that I want to talk about are the anger, rage, and frustration meridians, primarily gallbladder meridian and liver meridian. Okay. So gallbladder is in charge of our creative energy. It is also in charge of our ligaments and tendons, the way our bodies move. So a lot of people have like issues of, their joints, issues with their knees, unable to move forward, all that achy shit. It's because there's a lot of frustration, anger, rage, and frustration that is stuck, that has to do with injustice, which is liver meridian's job. It holds injustice. And when we are in touch with our anger is the seed of change. But we're so trained to suppress it, or, oh, you can only go so far. You can't, no, you can't say that. Oh yeah, the fuck I can't. I'm saying it. So people need to get more in touch with their anger. But what happens is that it gets suppressed. People get cut off. They get shut down. They get gaslighted that they have no right to feel angry or frustrated, or they should be grateful for what they have, whatever it is. And eventually that shit, it gets suppressed, and on and on and on and on. And pretty soon there is an explosion. There's an explosion that is of great consequence, whether we're breaking our own bones or we're out shooting it up because we have rage issues. And anyways, you get the point. So these meridians are very, very important to keep clear and to be able to vent that anger, that rage, that frustration in a safe way. I write hate letters in a journal, and then I burn them. I also have a 100-pound punching bag that I have downstairs to work that off, and as a martial artist, it's kind of my thing, because I'm a very, very physical person. And so for me to just hold that shit in, not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So on a regular basis, I keep myself in check, because for me, anger, like I said, the seed of change is what allows creation, allows change, allows the evolution, allows our darkness to come to light.
Yep.
And, it's so funny, because I can always tell when I'm out in the world who's fucking pissed off. And you can see it, their lips are just kind of, and you can feel them. They're a cauldron of heat, of rage, and they're just burning to get at you. So a lot of road ragers have a lot of suppressed anger. A lot of suppressed anger gets even more suppressed through alcohol, through drugs. A lot of it also gets enacted through violence in terms of assault, rape, torture, all that kind of stuff.
Violence overall.
Yeah, violence overall. And even violence in terms of the content that we're entertained by. Like movies or shows. I mean, I know people who are just like into a lot of violent shows, and they get off on it, and it's one of their ways. I have a friend who transmutes his rage through these violent shows. I don't relate to it, but I also can't speak for him, but he swears by it. So, maybe that's a way. I don't know. Or going into a boxing ring and getting your ass kicked. That's another way too. Okay.
Music is a good way to.
Yes. Yeah. Very much so. So
when you're into metal, oh my God, this is a cathartic kind of music,
Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
Yep.
So Anger, rage, frustration. Those are the meridians, liver meridian, gallbladder. So then there are the sadness, grief meridians, lung meridian, and large intestine. Okay. These are the meridians, especially with lung meridian. We're breathing in life. Okay. Breathing out life. A lot of grief is hidden in the lungs, is also hidden in the large intestine. So a lot of colon cancer is a lot about unexpressed grief, unexpressed loss, or an overabundance of loss, receiving or not even receiving it, but just stuffing it down. Rather than crying, we're going to stuff it down.
Yeah.
We're going to stuff it. And large intestine is the organ that is a waste eliminator. I mean, I know so many people that brag about pooping every 3 days. It's like, what the fuck, All right. So that is the meridian that is in charge of just letting go of all that toxic waste. And so these meridians, they not just hold grief and sadness, but they hold a lot of toxic stuff that needs to get expressed either through tears. I call tears the soul food of our hearts, the soul food of our souls, really, to be able to cry and release the sort of chemical overload of sadness, grief, and despair, of loss, of loneliness, of, just feeling like it's just way too much and giving up.
I mean, people should give up into repressing it, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are the sadness ones. And then there are also the meridians that have a lot to do with digesting ideas and bringing in nutrients. So we're talking about stomach meridian and spleen meridian. Spleen meridian, by the way, is the other self-esteem meridian, in addition to kidney meridian, that is in charge of how we feel about ourselves. So that there's that expression, the Americans say it, venting your spleen. It's like really just kind of giving your truth to somebody because it pisses you off, and so it's about having the wherewithal to be able to like really express your truth. But a lot of people don't. They stuff it down. They stuff it down and they act as if, they're above all that kind of stuff. They're above the anger. They're above feeling vengeful. I don't do revenge. I let the universe handle the details. I mean, that's what I say. But there are some times, though, where I really tune in. I'm like going, wow, man. Wow. And I go to town. I give myself permission to journal out my vengeance, and I burn it. I transmute it because I don't want to hold on to that stuff. Okay. Stomach meridian is about nurturing. It's also about boundaries, the ability to say no, the ability to say fuck off, the ability to say, no, thank you. I don't want to do that for you. I'm not able to do that for you, rather than martyring ourselves. Okay. And I know so many people, men and women, this is what we do. We martyr ourselves for the good of our children, for the good of our significant others, for the good of government, whatever. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Because this is where we either overeat or we starve ourselves. So the polarities of either overeating, gluttony, or starvation. And I know for myself, when I'm in those places, I don't stuff my face. I tend to not eat because I can't. I can't take it in. and I can't take it in anymore because I'm filled with other people's stuff, where I have, say, sacrificed my own well-being for the good of others. And I know for me, having been a mom, that's what happens a lot. We as mothers, we have a tendency to sacrifice, and burn the candle at both ends, so to speak. But I did that very, very, very consciously, in a way where I was very conscious that I am not taking this out on my children. Okay. Whereas a lot of people will take it out on their children, where they've had enough and then they fucking lose their shit. Okay. So these are the meridians where we need to be very, very aware of our own internal landscape and nip things in the bud. Like if you're not feeling good about yourself, check it out. What's going on in spleen meridian for you? Are you holding anger? Are you holding resentment? Okay, resentment that you got to do everything, or resentment that nobody appreciates you. That happens a lot in stomach meridian, especially those of us who are in caretaking roles, which, by the way, is a masculine. It's not feminine. Okay. Anytime we're caretaking, we're moving from our core out toward someone, out toward a cause, and that is masculine directed. Okay. It's not receiving mode. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of us feel very starved, is because we're not in the receiving mode. We're out of balance where we're constantly giving. So stomach meridian, spleen meridian are good ways to sort of keep that in check. Okay. So as I'm describing this, what I'm really wanting to inspire people with is to utilize these meridians and their meanings as checkpoints to check in with yourself about how you are feeling. Are you feeling upset because you're feeling unappreciated? And to go from there. Okay. Because part of unwinding our traumas is being really, really brutally honest with ourselves. And, the art of saying no. I like Mark calls it the lost word of no. I mean, it's just such a good thing to practice, and it's not going to be the end of the world, because that whole notion of being a people pleaser, very stomach meridian. The other meridian too, that is along the same pathway as spleen, is pancreas meridian. So pancreas meridian, which also has to do with digestion, is the meridian of feeling sorry for people. Okay. It's that helpless sympathy. But here's the thing with helpless sympathy. When we are in helpless sympathy, we're basically telling ourselves, and we're also projecting onto the other person, that they are a loser, that we know they can't take care of the shit. So compassion and empathy are not the same as sympathy. When we sympathize with people, we're essentially feeling sorry for them. And I want to really put out there that those of us who practice more sympathy than we do empathy and compassion, please, please, please begin to be open to practicing empathy, and compassion, which means to suffer with, to be able to put yourself in the shoes of another person, even you fucking can't stand them, and practice that one. Yep. Do not feel sorry for your sisters or brothers. You can empathize with them, but don't feel sorry for them, because what you're saying, I am too, is I am a victim. When you're seeing them as a victim, you're doing that to yourself as well. I always like to encourage everyone to see our brothers and sisters as their true divine beings. Okay. That's just an aside.
And I mean, we're at an hour and 10 minutes now.
Okay.
I think
I have 2 more, 3 more.
No problem. Go
Okay.
on.
All right. So the next group um is heart meridian and small intestine meridian. So these are matters of the heart, obviously, and small intestine is where we hide our secrets. Okay. And funnily enough, what is small intestine? Small intestine is the organ in our body that absorbs our nutrients into our bodies. So a lot of the times when people are malnourished and they're eating food, it's because there's a lot of secret stuff. A lot of our secret stuff has a lot to do with the work, the shadow work that we need to do to clear out our generational traumas. And our generational traumas are passed down to us in utero and prenatally in our mother's wombs. So if we're not gifted with a mother who has done her shadow work and has conceived us consciously, we're in trouble. And that is pretty much all of us. I mean, that's how I came to this work was dealing with my own incredible trauma-based mind control with my own mother. And it starts there, kids. So a lot of the deactivation of trauma begins in utero, prenatally. And I'm not blaming women. I'm not, but I'm also not giving us a pass, one of those feminine passes for all women. It's bullshit. Okay. I'm not advocating that. I'm advocating all of us that we do the shadow work to get good with our own mothers, the lineages of our mothers, our grandmothers, the lineages of our fathers and our grandfathers in all directions. Okay. And also get good with the atavistic psychic DNA memory of all the atrocities of humanity, such that when the matrix starts to trigger us to get us to war on each other, or when they activate those space-based energy weaponry to get us to, get unhinged in a crowd, we're not going to be able to fall for it because we have done the work to know the fucking difference about what happened before and what's going on now. That is being conscious. That is being sovereign, where you do not react like the rest of the herd and the zombies. Okay. So I have one more pair to go over, and that is central and governing vessels. So central and governing vessels are the meridians that go up the front of the body midline and up the back of the body along the spine. These are the meridians. They are the overflow channels that if you are bombarded by trauma and all the meridians are jammed up with all this emotional, energetic toxicity, and the emotions have backed up, the energy has backed up, central and governing vessels will take on the rest of the overflow. Okay. And these are the meridians that also, with the help of the chakras, distribute life force energy throughout the cells and bodies and the organs. So, anyways, that's what I have for now. And I know that was a lot. It was a mouthful. But next time, if you're open to it, Fred, I'll have some. We'll go through the meridians with the illustrations.
Sure.
And
Yes, I think it's a good thing. Yes.
We'll start doing some clearings, which is
Yeah,
always fun.
I'm looking forward to it. Actually, it's very interesting, and I learned a lot today. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You're very, very welcome. And
We're
thanks
we're
to
we're very
everyone.
we're very busy, in life, and taking care of the children. They're taking most of my time, and I think this context of family is it's very important because your children are gonna mirror you.
Yes,
You know, and
absolutely.
we need to be more conscious parents, and when you're doing your children, how were you when you conceived the children, and
Yeah. Yeah.
how did this how, what relation you have with yourself. And I think it's a beautiful thing seeing your
Beautiful. Thank
children
you, Fred.
growing up. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to know all these this because of our role into the roles that we're playing. I mean, yes, we have the self and these micro universes that we have to deal with, but there's no separation between the material world and the spirit world and the meta, and this is where we have to reconciliate this
Yes.
in our life.
Yes.
So yes, I mean, thank you so much
You're very,
again,
very welcome.
Maria.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I mean, it's always interesting. I very like your work, and I suggest everyone. Let me put that up. The links are there. Yes, and no, I'm gonna let them there, and I would like to thank everyone who was there. I saw Sandra, Hélène. Let me see in the comments there. Peaceful Penguin, Andy, she made beautiful comments. Aaron was there. There was plenty of people. I know one of my brothers is here, Jim. So thank you everyone for sharing your time. And it was let's make it another time. It's very interesting. I look forward to look at these different point and deeper. It's gonna be awesome. So take
Cool.
care, everyone.
Awesome. Bye, kids. Mwah.
Bye bye.